Hey gang, Professor McElroy here. Packaging design week 2, learning module 2. Very good job so far on learning module 1 with your folder project, DVD project. Week 2 is all about a couple of more templates. You're actually going to notice there's an Illustrator file, a PDF file, and an EPS file for each of your mini packaging design projects this week. We have the crayon box, we have the energy drink label, and we have the phone case. Each different in their template format, each giving us an opportunity to explore the die lines, the folding lines, just kind of extending our understanding of flat templates and how they appear in 3D space. Hopefully, you'll take a look at each of the assignment descriptions there, and you'll notice that the images taken as part of the assignment description with the template are actual student files, just to give you a little inspiration, show you the level of detail. Please make sure you're exploring all of the elements required in each of the templates. The easiest way to do that is to go out on the internet, take a look at some of the packaging designs for each of the mini projects we're doing. It'll give you a really good idea of what elements are included in each of those templates. You can also take a look at the images that I posted in the project descriptions, because those are student assignments that I think are really well done as it relates to kind of conceptual development and finished product. Remember, we want to include everything from scan bars to recycling symbols, to ingredients, to the copyright, the company that owns the particular product that we're packaging. If it's food, the nutritional facts, all that basic information. So I went ahead. I also posted some really interesting, just cool layouts, designs that I stumbled upon for each of the projects, and a kind of an interesting little YouTube video. So remember to use the announcement section as an opportunity to kind of, in essence, it's a blast email. I just use the announcement section for that instead of blast emails. So let's go in. I'm going to open up the templates and spend a couple of minutes just talking about them. And I'll spend a little time in development on a few of them, just so we can kind of talk through the process. I'm going to go ahead and record this lecture because all of you have been using this class as a strictly asynchronous online class. So I'm going to be on tonight on the Zoom just to make sure no one chimes in. But I thought it would be good just to go ahead at 2 o'clock and record this, so you have it a little bit earlier in the day in case you want to watch it or you want to start your projects or anything like that. It is Thursday, so we're kind of 2/3 the way through the week already. So it's nice to kind of have that thing a little bit early. I did email everyone, post in the announcement section, seeing if anyone would be live online tonight or anything. And no one got back to me saying they would. So I thought I would do a pre-recording of the lecture first, just so that you have it a little bit early. So I'm going to go in now. I'm going to go ahead and minimize my my Hugo. I'm going to get into Illustrator because I did open all 3 templates up in Illustrator just so that we could kind of show you kind of what's going on with the templates and the format of it and that sort of thing. I did copy over one of the images for each of the projects. The first one's your crayon project, just so that you had it as reference, right? There needs to be a name. There needs to be like a color, a number of colors inside of your box. You'll notice the scan bar and the recycle code on the bottom right here of your template. So here's your cover, here's your die cut. They actually use the eyes from the owl as the die cut for their particular crayon box. The top will always have the name of the crayons and the number of the crayons, which you can't see here because it's cropped, but it does say Little Owl Crayons, and it has the little 16 number symbol over there. And you'll notice how the image bleeds all the way front to back across all of the folds. Remember, this is the glue tab, and everything folds inside of itself. And these little lines right here, die lines. And you'll notice that there is a quality guarantee on the back of here. There are the 16 colors that are included in the box. There is a copyright down here, the company that owns it, that sort of thing, and a little fun, playful description on the back of the box about the little owl crayon. So really good sample example of the elements required in your design as you're creating your little crayon box here. So I'm going to go into my layers really quickly and unlock my template so you can just see that my template here is an image embedded in our document. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that again so that you know that the artwork layer is the layer that we're going to be creating our design in. Now, I like to keep these little folding tabs white in the layout. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually, if I was creating this thing, I would go in and do a quick, and I'm just going to give this a little bit. So I'm just going to create this as my basic die cut area. I'm going to switch that over. And so just for the sake of the process, I'm going to nudge that a little bit to make sure it's perfect. I'm going to nudge this a little bit, and I'm just using it to kind of use it as my template here. So that's my template for what I'm going to cut out. I'm actually going to leave those tabs as white, just so that I can fold those in, crease those in as white. I could use my pen tool and draw a little shape around all of these if I wanted to fully bleed it like this student did. But just to give you an idea, this is the die window, the window that's cut out that you see the crayons inside of it. That's not necessarily, you know, a must, or it could be a different shape. It doesn't have to be anything in particular as it relates to your crayons, right? You could use any number of shapes out of your layout here to do your little die window, and some don't even have a die window. So that's kind of preferential as you're creating your crayon box. I'm going to go in now, right? I was talking a lot about grabbing assets for your design. You know, it will help you with a professional level of build if you're not comfortable in the illustration or the photo manipulation per se. Packaging design is all about concept and composition. So I think I'm going to do hiking because I'm a big hiker. I like to get out and do outdoor stuff. So I'm going to see if I can find some different free images that I might want to use for hiking. Oh, this one's a cool one. So I'm going to download this. Right, this is what I did last week to gather assets. I have a concept here. I think I'm going to call it outdoor sticks, a play on the word sticks for like drawing things, drawing tools, pencils, that sort of thing. So I'm going to do that. So that's going to be my background. And maybe I'll find, let me see, I'm going to use this dude as my hiker. Just the silhouette part, because I can use more than one file to develop this. I don't have to use just one file. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to download my next one. I'm going to drop that over there. And then I'll minimize this for a minute, and I'll actually minimize this because I want to move that over to the middle, move that over to the middle. I'm going to undo that. So here it is. So my first one's this. So I'm going to go in and open it up. I need the vector of it. So I'm going to go in there and open that. And here it is. So I'm going to copy it. Now I can go ahead and close it once I copy it. And now I'm going to paste. So here is my thing. I'm going to go in and scale this baby down a little bit, just so I have something functionally that I can use. So there it is. I'll hold down Shift Option to scale this thing. And so it's got to be at least as tall as this packaging, right? So I'm going to do this, kind of just bleed it off a little bit. I'm going to right click it and send it to back. And that way I can have my template and everything together. And I'm going to make a clipping mask, right? So here is my layout for my container. But I'll notice I forgot that this thing has a pretty big cut to it. So there we go. So there is the beginning of my template, right? My template for my crayons here. And you could see it. And I could do this and drag it down. And then let's unlock this just to show you. So let's go in here. And I'm actually going to just crank this down a little bit so you can see the lines. So you can see those template lines right there, right? So that just gives us, if I ever need to turn those on, I have them right there so you can kind of see where the die lines and everything are, because that's important when I'm creating my template here, knowing that they're going to drop this artwork right into this template and print it out. So I can create it with those being white if I need to or want to, because I can give them the file like that and they'll just drop it into my template if I need to. If I need to, I can go in and draw these lines if I really need them visually for folding, or I could go in and draw these two tabs just so that I have them as part of my design, right? I could go into my artwork here and I could click on that, click on that. So I'm just going to create these tabs really quickly just so that you can see. Just so that we're on the same page here. All right, and just for the sake of the process, let's take the eyedropper. I'm just going to fill it in one of those colors here, just so we have something. So there it is, Shift Option, and then I'm going to rotate it and drop it down. So there are my two tabs. Then I can hide that, and you get a really good idea of my, and I'll make them the same gradient color maybe. Or I can go in here. Let's go into gradient. Let's just dump off. Make that like that. And then I can eyedropper this. There we go. And then I can always take my gradient tool and get this thing all set up. All right, there we are. So I have my basic tabs there. So now you can really see what's going on. So I need to open up my hiker now. So let's minimize this. Let's close that. And we can actually trash this because I already opened those files in Illustrator. So then I need this EPS. I'm going to open this. Click no. So here's my little silhouette guy. So I'm going to ungroup. And then let's see what we have here. Delete. Delete, delete. So let's group this. And then I'm going to actually go in here and I'm going to crop out these weird, that's part of the text that they grouped all together. So let's do that. Select both things, make it a clipping mask. So here it is. And I'm going to copy it, close that, get into my crayon box, paste that. Here's my little hiker dude. Right. So I'm just trying to give you guys ideas here. Let's do Shift Option. I'm going to scale this way down. Just so, and you can see, right, these are my guides. So I can do Command R and turn on my rollers. And if I needed to, I could drop my lines. And let's do this just for the sake of the process. Turn that back on just so I can drop. I just want to drop lines so you can see where the front panel is. These are the primary elements in the back panel. The other ones I can tell by the angles of how the shapes angle. So there you go. So now I can hide that. And so now I need this dude just to fit in here somewhere. And I'm actually going to make him appear as if he's coming off the bottom. Right, so here's my little hiker dude. Let's do Shift Option. I'm going to scale this up because I want him to come off the bottom and I want it to be that big. So what I'm going to use my direct select and I'm going to recrop this, right? Because I did a clipping mask. So now I can go in here and crop this dude to make sure he fits inside of there. So now if I zoom in, here's my front cover, but I got a problem because I have this weird little shape in here, right? So let's zoom in. I'm actually going to go delete, delete and get rid of that. Or I could do this. So I have it copied then hit delete, and then do edit, paste in place. And I'm going to close this shape. So I'm going to take this, close it to that. And there's my shape. I'm going to hold down option, see if I can grab these two little shapes here. So let's do direct select. Click on my silhouette guy, hold down shift, click on that. Let's see if it'll let us punch it out. There it is. And so now if I get in here, so let's see if I can zoom in. This white shape is the shape behind it. So there you go. So I'm just talking you through this process so you get an idea of what's going on here. What do we got here? I got to make sure that I crop this dude. So let's recrop him. The Pathfinder tool took the crop off. So I'm just going to recrop him so he fits inside of my front panel, right? So there he is. All right, so there he is. I actually see two little tiny things in between those trees. So I'm just going to direct select them and delete them because I don't want those lingering out there. So here's my front panel. And I'm going to call this thing outdoor sticks. So remember, this is my artwork layer. This is my template layer. I'm going to add a new layer and I'm just going to call it text because the text layer is going to be any textual elements. The artwork layer is going to be everything from the scan bar, recycling bar, and any of these graphics that I'm using on my crayons. So I can go ahead and lock that. Go back to my text layer. And I'm going to, I haven't saved this yet, and I got a bunch of stuff going on. That's why my computer's having a little bit of a problem right now. And I'm not going to do the entire box. I'm just kind of getting it started for you guys so you can kind of see my problem solving. So I want it to be all caps. So outdoor, and that's going to be my first word, right? So here's outdoor. Let's go into properties. I'm going to make this like some kind of funky typeface. So let's do I want semi-bold. Let's do this. Can I drop that there? There it is. I think I'm going to do like an arc or something, like just a really simple one, just to give it a little personality. And remember, when you do like treatments and things like that, you want to make sure you expand the appearance, and that will disjoint it or disconnect it from the text and from the effect. And so now I'll move it. Remember, that's the top fold and the side fold. So I just want to make sure that this thing has breathing room. So there it is. And then I'm going to name it sticks. And I'm going to make it a lighter typeface, like maybe like medium, semi-bold. And then I can apply the same arch. I can expand the same appearance. And that way we know it's kind of curved the same way. And I could select these two things and center align them. And so take a look at this. Now I'm going to move this up. So that's kind of my design. And so zoom in and watch what happens if I, let's see here, take that. I think I want to play around with this a little bit. So let's do this just for the sake of the process. Let's make that white. Let's make the stroke on the outside just so that we can still see that dude. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'm going to hold down shift. And I'm going to do shift option to scale it down so it's not so super power overbearing. So there's my outdoor sticks, right? And then I've got all these kind of funky shapes going on, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw a little circle. Use my eyedropper to sample one of these light colors. So there it is. And now I'm going to do This one's 24 crayons. So there's 24. I'm gonna drop that in there. And I like to create outlines with all of my type as long as I know exactly what I got going on here. And there aren't any typos, then I'm gonna select those two things and do center aligned, center aligned. So now you can get a really good idea on the crayon box and kind of what I have going on here. And so now just for inspiration, remember, we want to have kind of a playful description or something like that. The student found safety info, which is kind of cool on the Crayola crayon box. So they added it here. Then there's a quality guarantee, and there's the copyright, the company who distributes it, and the colors on the back, and the scan bar and the recycling code on the bottom. So you can see everything I got going on here. So you're probably like, well, I don't have the recycling code, right? You can always go recycle symbol, go to images. I'm going to minimize this. So let's just see which one we have. Actually, Vecteezy has one already that you could download, but I'm just going to grab this one and drop it over there just so that you can see that you can just grab it, drop it. I'm going to go into the properties and I'm going to go image trace. We'll just do 3 colors. Let's do 6 colors just so it's a little smooth. Oh, struggling a little bit with the image trace. But let's do that, see what happens. I would download it because I'm not loving what it did to it. But for the sake of the just learning process, I'm just going to do it 3 colors and expand it. And then you can see direct select. I can pick this, hold down shift, pick all these. And I'm just going to copy it and paste it. And then I'm going to group it. And I'm going to make it, I like to use the eyedropper. So I'm just going to use some of the colors already in the design. I'm going to drop a recycling code there. And then I can delete that one. So now you can really see what's going on. So the crayon box is kind of a baby step in now into kind of a more complex, simple rectangular shaped box. So I like to kind of baby step you into the process. So that is our crayon box. And so you can run with it, right? Come up with a playful, fun, different idea. You can download photos from Pexels. You can download vector art from Vecteezy. You can draw your own elements. But the concept is, I used to give the concept of using your name or your last name and having some theme around some personality about you. If you get stuck and you don't really have creative juices flowing on your crayon box, you could do some playful representation of your name, and that'll be kind of the springboard for your idea. So that is the crayon box. Have fun with it. I'm going to go ahead and open the energy box up now because this is the label, and you'll notice that I actually already gave you some of the primary elements. We can see nutritional facts. You can see the label. Remember, this wraps around. This completely wraps around. This was one of the students' designs. And then they went into Photoshop. They found a picture of some energy cans, and they juxtaposed their label on the energy cans, which is a really good way to visualize it for your portfolio. But I'm going to go in here into the layers, and you'll notice I'm going to actually release the clipping mask so you can see. And I'm going to get rid of all this excess stuff, just like I did before, right? So you guys are comfortable with, right? So there's the trim line. So that's the real line that matters. So if I go in here now, hopefully you're starting to get a hang of the concept here. So there's your trim line, right? So in theory, you don't need the black line because the label is the black line, right? That's your trim line. You just need to know that the stuff inside of there. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to draw a selection box, and I'm going to group just the ingredients because that could go anywhere on your label. I'm going to select this. and I'm going to group the nutritional facts. And I'm going to select this, and I'm going to group the recycling statement. And then I'm going to do this, draw a selection box, group it, and there's your scan bar. And then I can get rid of this, and best if used by, that should be grouped. So now, right, you've got a blank canvas, right? Your nutritional facts has to go on one side. Typically, your nutritional facts, your ingredients, you could use your recycling and your scan bar over here, right? This thing wraps. And then best if used by, I tend to like that kind of over here too. And so now I'm just going to use my smart guides, kind of snap these things, and then you can draw a selection box and select all these and kind of align them so that they kind of all fit. So now you can see, look at this huge design space you have that you can create anything that you want related to your energy drink. So let's go back into Vecteezy. So I don't know, what do we got going on here? Vecteezy. I'm going to do like orange texture. I like the color orange. So I'm going to go in and download this. I'm just creative brainstorming here for you, kind of showing you my process. So I'm going to drag that. And just for the sake, I'll minimize that for right now. Double click on this. Here's my EPS file. I'm going to open that. So let's go back to the energy, just because remember, this is the student's design. So I'm going to call it, I don't know, what am I going to call this thing? I want it to be an orange burst of flavor. I know that. So let's get in here. I'm going to copy that. And I can close it. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to name this template just for now, even though my nutritional facts and everything are on my template. Add a new one. I'm going to name this one artwork. On my artwork layer, I'm going to paste my background. Ooh, this is really funky, right? I see there are some words there, some letters lingering. I'm going to have to, I like the lighter part of it. So now, just for the sake of the process, draw a rectangle. I'm just talking you through this, right? There's that, hold down Shift, right click it, make a clipping mask. So here is the beginning of my template. I'm going to go ahead and lock this just so that you can see if I unlock this. I need to maybe, let's see what we have going on here. I'm going to take my rectangle tool, draw a box, make it white, object, arrange, send it back. So I can put it behind my nutritional facts, and that could be any color. I mean, I could make that because I'm in the orange spectrum. I could go down here and find something a little more fun. All right. So we got that. I always like to kind of keep these a little tighter. Keep that towards the bottom. Let me pan across because remember, I got this thing going on. I'm gonna use my direct select and see what my shapes look like here. So let's see what we have going on there. So let's make it, let's keep with the theme here. So I'm going to use my eyedropper and sample that. So there's the first part, right? So there it is. Now I'll use my direct select. I'm going to pick these other white shapes, use my eyedropper, sample that. And you're seeing I'm using a consistency of color, right? That's a really easy way to unify things, unify elements, unify designs by keeping the color palette. I definitely want this to be like orange burst as the flavor, but what do I want to call this kind of unique drink here? Maybe I'll just use my last name just to show you guys. So let's go into layers. I'm going to lock this layer, add a new layer, and I'm just going to name it text. And so I'm going to do caps. I'm going to do McElroy's, right? Make it bigger. I definitely want to rotate it. I love to rotate things to give them a little energy, no pun intended. And let's go into our properties. And I'm going to use, I actually really like this text. So I'm going to use something condensed, extra condensed. So there's my rotation. I'm going to create an outline. And then just for the sake, do that. Put it on the outside. And I'm going to type in orange burst. I don't want that to be italic because it's going to run underneath this. So I'm just going to do extra bold. I'm going to make sure. McElroy's orange burst. I'll create outlines. I'm going to make this white just to give it a little pop. Maybe I'll hold down shift and select both these things and add a drop shadow. No, let's not do a drop shadow. Let's do outer glow. Multiply. Let's make it a bright yellow. Now you can really see it. Now watch what happens. If I go into my properties, click on there. I want to make it 0.012. No, let's do like 0.12. So now you can really see it. And the darker I make it, the more burst you can see. There it is. And watch what happens if I hold down shift, group these, and copy it and edit, paste in place. Watch when there's two of them. It makes that burst like really bright if you paste it on top. So now I need this to say like energy drink, right? Energy elixir. And I'm going to stay in condensed, but I'm going to make it like medium. Too big, I think. Let's do that. And I'm going to select these things and I'm going to center align so they're all aligned correctly. I think that's how you spell elixir. All right. And you'll notice what's going on here, right? It's got the fluid ounces. So I need to write down. So let's do this. I'm going to do 16 FL period OZs period. So I want to select both these things and I'm going to outline them. And then I'm going to align them. So there they are. This is too close to the top, so I'm going to move that up a little bit. I'm going to do Command R. I'm going to drag down my guides. I want to try to make sure all this stuff is sitting relatively on the same baseline. Ooh, that's really close. I just eyeballed that and all of these things are lined up pretty well. And so 16 fluid ounces. And I'm going to make that white. I'm going to select this. I'm just going to move it up a little bit because I don't want it so tight on the 16 fluid ounces. On this side, I would write a little story about my energy drink, I think. So I don't know, let's go back in here just for the sake of the process. This is specifically for, so let's do like extreme sports. I'm just thinking out loud, actually. I did not have a plan other than I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I had some basic kind of concepts, but I wasn't sure exactly the elements I wanted to do and all that good stuff. Oh, this is cool. The mountain hiking dude, the rock climbing. And the silhouette's awesome because I'll be able to cut that out of my, put that in front of my background. So. For the sake of it, I think I've downloaded too many things at one time here. So it wants me to close out of here, clear it, and reopen it. So just for the sake of the process, well, I'll do it real quick. So let's just go. I'll just type in extreme sports. Let's find that rock climbing dude again, which is right here. I'm going to trash these. Here's my download. I think that's it anyway. Is that it? Yep. So then I'll open this up. Here's my rock climbing dude. We actually have some great elements here. So I'm going to copy that. The first thing I'm going to do is bring this dude in. I want to make sure it's completely pure black. I'm going to group it, zoom out a little bit. I can create my own kind of surface area now. So you see how I can kind of just drop this in if I wanted to. So let's zoom in a little bit. And just for the sake of the design, I'm going to show you. I'm going to expand this thing all the way across the shape. I'm just going to create my own front to this can by using that. So let's see, what layer am I on? I'm on my text layer. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy it, delete it, lock this, unlock this, and I'm going to do edit, paste in place. And that'll put it back where I want it to be. So then I can lock that, unlock this. Oh, actually, I'm going to stick with it because there are some other elements from this file that I thought were pretty cool. So let's grab that again. There are some cool elements here. So we have this little birdie. I'm going to copy him. It's cool to have him out there somewhere. So you're just seeing what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of creating this interesting. What else do we have here? We have this little mountain. That would be cool to run across the design. And I'm making everything black. You didn't notice. I'm going to shrink that down. So I'm actually going to run this the length of the label. So there it is. What else do I have here? Anything cool? Those are weeds and trees and stuff. So let's copy those. And I'm not reinventing the wheel here, right? I'm using elements that are like already there. And zoom this out a little bit. We'll shrink that way down. I'm actually going to move this, I think, over there. So I'm going to get rid of this big shape and keep just the trees and bushes and stuff. So let's ungroup it. And so then I should have just this one. I'm going to drop this one in over there somewhere. So there's the beginning of that. And let's take this one. Drop that in there. And now you're noticing I don't really need to be able to draw per se, right? I'm just showing you guys how you can do some cool stuff. So there's that. I probably need to. All right, so we have that. So let's go to my layers. I'm gonna lock that, go back to here and unlock this. And here is the beginning of my label for my energy drink. So now you get a really good idea of kind of development, the thinking process of the development of it, what I'm doing here. So, and I just created my own little seam there basically. And you want to make sure that this thing is all the way to the edge, which it looks like it is. Everything's like super clean, but you're getting an idea now on the energy drink. So that's our crayon box, our energy drink label, and then last but not least is our phone. Now this is a student design from last time I taught the class, and they created this little iFrogs, and they downloaded a little frog logo, little icon illustration. They made this logo, and then look at how they just duplicated it, put it on the tab that folds over, which is folds right over here, folds and touches to this side. That's the kind of the hanger parts. They did it upside down. Then they put it on the top area, which was perfect. Then they have all the description elements, what makes this case so great. You know, it doesn't break, blah, 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 protects your phone. Then the Lux Original is the name of it, right? And so then you can see the images of that. It's for the iPhone 5. You'll notice that they blew up and cropped in the logo so they could write the little description about it on there. This was very creatively done. You've seen this image probably in one of my lectures from Pexels. It's just like a smoke image. And then they grabbed some phone images that were transparent from the web and created, I think, a really well thought after solution here. But you will notice, right, that these things are already traced for you. So this is a perfect clipping mask. So I'm just going to do this real quick just to show you, right? So there it is, copy paste, move this over, direct select. I'm going to delete that, delete that, delete that. I'm just getting rid of the creases and the folds and stuff for you, so you can see. Now I'm going to zoom in. You see this right here? Those 2 points, these 2 points, object, path, average. So they're joined, object, path, average. So those are joined. I'm just connecting the pieces. Or I could use this and just do a quick pen tool redraw, but this is my die shape. So this is the shape. So I'm going to group that. And let's go in here. So there's my group. So I could lock that, and I could pen tool draw right over it. You need that shape if you're going to do a clipping mask, that's the entire shape of the case, which you can see right there. So it just depends on how you're going to do it, right? Each one of these panels are separately, but if you want it to be one big bleeded background image, then you need that shape for your clipping mask, right? So they're all vector. You just got to make sure this is one solid shape so that when you put an image behind it and you put that shape in front of it, you can right click on those two things as they're grouped and you can cut them out. But this is a little bit more complex. That's why I left this image from the cover, from the description of it. This is a really good kind of show you the elements of the case, or you can go to Best Buy or Walmart or Target or any of them to get the case, but have fun with this one. I think just about everyone owns a phone now. So I try to keep my lectures to an hour and 25 minutes recorded. So it gives you plenty of time for your 3 projects. Remember, there are, let's go in here, back to our modules. There are a couple of presentations embedded in here that are just food for thought, right? I took some good case study books and things on packaging design that I really love, and I put them inside of each of the learning modules. You have the chapter 2 and chapter 3 presentations, which are kind of from chapter books that I enjoy. And remember, if you find something cool, you have your discussion design sample share. So make sure you're sharing it in your 2.6. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Let me know if you have any questions as you're kind of building this next phase. Keep up the good work, keep plugging along. Remember, we're striving for professional level of output, and let's see what you come up with.